back in, I think it was 2010 when NCAA's was at Ohio State. I went with my mom, and I remember watching it and like just seeing like how fast they were, and I was like, I don't know if I can ever go that fast, but I do. So it is like just it's crazy that I've like gotten to this level so fast, and I'm going into my last year of college. Like it's just weird how fast the time goes.
Welcome everyone to The Journey, a show that examines the sacrifices and hard work our guests endured to achieve their goals in and out of the pool. I am Molly Harmon, and with me is my co-host, Jeff Commings.
Hi, Molly. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm so excited for this episode.
So am I. I'm very excited. Today's guest is not only a conference champion, but he's also an NCAA finalist and an Olympic trials qualifier. And joining us on the journey today is Camden Murphy. How are you doing today, Cam?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you very much. So let's talk about what's on everybody's mind right now, getting back into the water. So you just returned to the University of Georgia just very recently to get back into the water after 3 months out. So I guess it's a two-part question. Are you back in the water? And if you are, how does it feel?
So yes, I am back in the water. I got back, I think, 2.5 weeks ago. And it is a lot harder than I thought it would be. I don't think I've taken 3 months off in like 10 years or a little over 10 years. So getting back in, I was really anxious because I like didn't know exactly where I was going to be. I either was going to feel really good or I was not going to have the feel of the water at all. But so I did end up getting in the water just like by myself for a few times. And I didn't feel like terrible, but I didn't feel like great. I felt a lot better than I thought I was going to feel. And then we just kind of started doing practices with a few people back here in Athens. And it's definitely a lot harder than I thought it would be, but I'm getting there.
What's the general atmosphere of the team there as everybody works to get back into shape?
So right now there's like about like 14 of us, and we're all like basically in the same boat. We practice there, and then we all usually go to like this gym and kind of like try to lift because we can't lift right now because of the weight room's closed. So we just try to lift as much as possible, but not overdo it because we don't want to like overdo it right now because we haven't lifted in 3 months. That's not too healthy, but so yeah.
So you won the SEC titles in the 200-yard butterfly as a sophomore and a junior. What was your experience of winning as a sophomore, and then how was that different from winning as a junior?
Winning as a sophomore was definitely really special because it was at Georgia, and it was obviously my first SEC title. And the event before the women's, there was a girl from Georgia who won, so it was kind of like really cool that two Georgia swimmers won back to back in the two fly. And two fly has always been like, I don't want to say it's like a big like a Georgia event, but Georgia's always had really good two butterflyers, so like it was just kind of like iconic, I guess. But yeah, it was really special winning for the first time. It was really surreal. The event itself was, I think I was in like third place up until like the last 25. So I really wasn't expecting to win like until like that last like 15 meters. I was like, oh my God, I think I got it. So that was really cool. And then going into the two fly this year, I was way more nervous than last year because I've won last year. So I had pressure on myself and from other people. And I wasn't as rested this year than I was last year because they really wanted me to do a lot better at NCAA's, and they didn't want to double taper me. So they just wanted me to kind of swim through SEC. So I wasn't feeling great. And the two flies like one of the last events. So by the time the two fly came around, I was hurting really bad, but it worked out.
Yeah. So most people knew you in high school as a 100 butterflyer, which we will talk about shortly, but your 200 fly has gotten just as good, if not better. How were you able to kind of get your two fly at the same level?
It kind of started back when I was like 16. I think I dropped like 7 seconds in the two fly, and I was like, wow, I'm actually like pretty good at this. And then when I got to Georgia, they actually didn't put me in the two fly for the first two meets. They put me in the 50 free, and I think I got like third and fourth in the dual meets, and I was kind of upset because I was like, I really like the two fly. You guys need to put me in the two fly. And so they finally did, and I ended up doing really well. And they're like, okay, well, I guess we're just gonna keep putting you in it. And my freshman year, Gunnar Bentz, that he was like the big 200 butterflyer, and he was actually out for the first half of the season because I think he broke his foot or something, or his collarbone. He broke his collarbone, so they put me in it, and so they were like, okay, you're actually really good at this. So I just the training there just kind of like helps me with the two fly a lot more. Even though like I do sprint training, but I think it helps a lot more for the two fly rather than the 100 fly.
Yeah, I'm sure. Obviously, the whole world knows kind of all about this pandemic situation. How did you and the whole Georgia team handle news of cancellations with not just your team meets, but the NCAA's and Olympic trials?
I think we handled it pretty well. It was definitely like rattling at first because nobody knew what to do. Like everyone was just kind of like scattering. Some people went home, some people kind of stayed here. But I think I feel like we all as a team we did really well. We still like right after like in March, April, we were still doing like Zoom calls with the guys just to like keep up and just see if everybody was staying in shape with where they were because not everybody had pools back then, and so we were just kind of like checking up on each other. So I think as a team we did really well with all that.
And it's really interesting because I remember reading a lot of the kind of the pre-meet articles, and people were starting to make predictions before the cancellation about who could win NCAA's, and I remember seeing your name multiple places in the 100 fly and 200 fly. What does it mean to you that you've come this far in your career to be talked about instantly as someone who could win an NCAA title?
It's actually really cool because back in I think it was 2010 when NCAA's was at Ohio State, I went with my mom, and I remember watching it and like just seeing like how fast they were, and I was like, I don't know if I can ever go that fast, but I do. So it is like just it's crazy that I've like gotten to this level so fast, and I'm going into my last year of college. Like it's just weird how fast the time goes.
It really does. Believe me, it goes really fast. So
Yeah.
enjoy every moment of it. So as Molly mentioned earlier, you were known for your 100 fly as a high school swimmer, especially after you briefly held the national age group record in the 100 fly. I believe it was 2015. And I want to know, how did you and your coach go about setting the goal of breaking that record and winning at junior nationals? And then how did you go about training toward that?
Um, that was actually that was the same meet that I dropped like 7 seconds in the two fly. But I remember before the meet started, I knew that a lot of college coaches were going to be there, and it was in Georgia, so I knew that Georgia might have like they were going to at least send one coach there, and I had an idea that I really did want to go to Georgia. So I was like, I know I really need to do well at this meet because this meet's so important with college recruiting because the next big meet technically was like Olympic trials after that. But so that's like kind of like how I was training for that. I wasn't actually expecting to break the national age group record. I was actually really surprised that I did, but yeah, I was really just focused on trying to do as best as I can to have a lot of colleges come look at me because I think in the 100 fly I was seated like 14th or 15th. So I wasn't like expected, to win or anything. So I was just trying to do as best as I could.
Well, to jump 14 spots, not just to win junior national, but then to, say you're the best in your age group in history, it had to be a great feeling. Were you on cloud nine for like a week, a month after that?
Um, Not really because so this was when like the junior nationals were in two different places. So we were in Georgia for Eastern, and then West was in Austin, Texas, and then I think Michael Andrew broke it by like .02 like an hour later. So I only had it for like an hour. But it was nice to like say that I had it, and I was happy that I swam that fast, because that was probably like that was definitely like one of like the best meets that I've ever had. Like just dropping all that time, and just like the timing of it, it was just perfect. Kind of like yeah.
Yeah, including dropping 7 seconds in a 200 butterfly. That's really good.
Sure.
What makes you so good at butterfly?
I think it's my kick. I've always had pretty good underwaters in high school. They weren't like amazing, but they were like, I guess like above average. And then when I came here, we really trained for our underwaters. Like we do a lot of well sets, a lot of kicking, and I love kicking. Like I always do kicking. I love to do like underwaters. Sometimes I do like underwater sets by myself, just because I really like it, and it helps me so much. And so I think that probably is like the biggest factor in why my fly is so good, just because of like the underwater part. Because I can like kick underwater, but I can kick underwater like pretty fast, but it's not like I'm not trying that hard. I don't know if that's a good explanation, but like
No,
it's very
yeah.
it comes like natural almost.
Yeah, and everyone knows underwaters are almost or not if the most important part of
Yeah.
swimming a race. But in high school, I'm sure you were very heavily recruited. How did you handle all of the attention and pressure? Like, what was the pressure that you had?
Um, at first I liked it because I did like having all that attention. And then I think after a while it got kind of stressful, because I was just kind of like talking to, because I'm like a nice person. I don't like turning anybody down. So I was just kind of like talking to like any school who kind of reached out to me. And then when I started to like realize that I really wanted to go to Georgia, um, schools were starting to like come out to me. There was a few coaches who came down to watch me some practice, and then a lot more wanted to come and like stay at my house, or wanted to come go out to dinner, or like do something like that. And I was kind of like, okay, I already know I want to go to Georgia, so I don't want to waste these people's time. So I committed early. I think I committed in like the end of May, like right before Olympic trials. So it was relieving after.
What was so special that you knew you wanted to go to Georgia?
Um, well, when I visited after the junior nationals, just the whole guys team was just so nice. I just really, really like them. I love the campus and the climate, because like in Michigan, it's so cold there. And at that time, the meet was in December, and I think it was like in the 60s, like the mid 60s in Georgia. And I was like, wow, I just really want to go here. Like I hate the cold weather. And then the coaches were super nice. And I love how much like long course that we train here. And they told me that. And I just really, just that I enjoyed that part. So that was probably one of the biggest factors.
Right. Well, we're talking to you in June 2020, when the climate around the country is a big topic of conversation. And to tie it all into swimming, I mean, you're one of the top African American athletes in the pool right now. Someone who is being in the conversation of making the Olympic team, which, when I was swimming, was a very hot topic of when it's going to happen, and it has happened. And what does it mean for you to be that kind of role model to a lot of the younger kids who may be looking up to you and saying, there's someone who looks like me doing very well in this sport? And how does that help you, um, looking out into to regular society as well?
Yeah, I think it helps actually being a lot of people's role models, because there's so many days that I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, or like I just don't want to train like maybe as hard as I know that I should, or do like the extra step. So having like, or knowing that I'm a role model, a lot of people, I think motivates me a lot. So yeah.
And obviously, people are going to be looking at you when you get to your senior year, trying to get your third SEC title, and also, that big goal of making the Olympic team. Do you put pressure on yourself to make all of that happen, or are you able to block that out?
Um, it kind of depends what it is. Like for like next year, like for SECs or NCAAs, I try not to think about that when I'm training, or I try not to think about it too far in advance because I do get really bad anxiety and like that could actually, it like affects me sometimes if I overthink. So I try not to overthink because a lot of times if I do overthink before like a swim meet, I won't swim as well because I'm so stressed out. So I'll try to like relax. I don't like to I make goals for myself, but I try not to make them too specific. So if I don't hit those goals, I'm not too hard on myself or anything. But yeah, so
Well, that's very important. I mean, one of the biggest phrases I remember is "fun swimming is fast swimming," and if you're
mhm.
putting a lot of pressure on yourself, it's not fun, and then you don't go fast.
Yeah, I used to make a lot of goals for myself, but I kind of stopped. I started making goals for like practice, and then I saw like the results in the meet, so I just kind of kept doing that.
Yeah, it's very good for you to be able to do that. When I was doing a lot of research on you, trying to learn more about your life, I was um, found on the internet there's actually someone else in the world named Camden Murphy, and he's actually pretty famous too. He's a stock car driver. Have the
Yeah.
two of you ever met?
No, I've never met him in person, but it's actually funny because in 2016, right before Olympic trials, he like gave me a shout out on Twitter saying good luck. And we both follow each other on Twitter and Instagram. So I always like seeing his pictures of him doing like his race car stuff in monster truck. So it looks cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Obviously, to have him following you and you following him, it means a lot, I'm sure. And I hope that, one day the two of you meet. Maybe we can do our part to make that happen.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Except I think what would be really cool is you get him in the pool, and then once you're done with your career, we have to wait till after your swimming career is over. Get you in a race car and see what you could do, and see who can transition to the other sport the best.
I would love that. I probably would say that I would transition better just because swimming's so hard. But I mean, who knows?
Is there any other sport that you think you'd want to pick up? Maybe if swimming hadn't worked out for you when you were younger.
Maybe like tennis. I don't know. I feel like that's just a nice sport. Like I still actually like kind of want to do it.
Do you like watching it at all?
No, I don't like watching it, but like the idea of just kind of like being able to like just go out and play tennis with some friends. Like you can't really do that with like swimming. You can't just go train with somebody or practice with someone, but you can just go practice tennis with one of your friends outside. So yeah.
Yeah, especially when those wonderful days in Athens when the sun's shining and it's nice and cool. Just get out on a tennis court. Yeah, it can be relaxing. It can be a little strenuous too. Well,
Yeah.
we're glad that swimming has worked out very well for you. I'm sure the tennis community is probably happy too. It's going to be a great it's going to be a great year for you, Cam. I really do believe that your senior year is going to be great. We're going to be following you through every step of it. No pressure, but we're just happy to see all the results, and thank you very, very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So thank you to all of you who've watched us here on the journey. And as I always say, it's not just about getting to the destination, it's about the journey as well.